there has been a relegation. All right, show the tiers. As always, direct your eyes to the bottom of the screen and move up. The bottom tier is now the NFC East. And before we go through the rest, what you're going to notice is what's missing. The Jets are out. The Jets no longer deserve to be included. Well, no. Don't show this yet. Can we go back to my full tiers, please? We're moving too quickly. The Jets are out. They're gone. NFC East is the bottom of the barrel. Adam Gase is somewhere looking up for his team. There he is. And you're not going to find him. They're gone. Now we'll go to mock draft season. The Lions have moved down to mock draft season. The Jags have always been there. The Bengals feel good about Burrow, but not much else. The Texans, it's mock draft season, and they don't even have their own draft picks. All right, this next tier is somewhat interesting. I put still fighting. These are teams that on any given weekend could be a pain to play and could be a handful to deal with. The Falcons with Raheem Morris, the Vikings with Dalvin Cook, the Chargers with Herbert, but they're not going to be a playoff team. So now we can get to the teams that truly matter. This tier right here, AFC playoff battle, 3 spots, 5 teams. They're going to battle it out. The Dolphins and the Bills for the AFC East, and whoever doesn't get it will be fighting with the Browns, Colts, and Raiders for the final 2 wild card spots in the AFC. So there will be 3 playoff teams from that tier. 2 will be going home. Then we get to the real contenders, but the ones with a major flaw. For the Seahawks, it's obviously their defense. For the Cardinals, who have moved up, it is obviously their lack of experience. For the Titans, it's their defense. And for the Rams and the Bucks, it's the massive questions about their quarterback. Then you get to the cream of the crop. Championship caliber. Saints, Ravens, Packers, Steelers. These are the best teams in football aside from the defending champion. Number 1 contender, there isn't one. That was the Steelers. But the Steelers' shaky performance this week against the Dallas Cowboys, having that game come down to a final heave from Garrett Gilbert. A week after a game came down to a final heave by Lamar Jackson. A week after a game came down to a final kick by Stephen Gostkowski that missed. 3 weeks in a row, they could have been beaten on the final play of the game. You're no longer the number 1 contender. And then the champs stay the champs. So there's the tiers. The committee had some hard soul searching. Do we kick the Jets out? Yes. Do we leave a tier vacant? Yes. So that's where we're at. Wow. Brandon Marshall, this will finally be the week, I am convinced, that you say, Nick, you and the committee got it exactly right.
Absolutely not. A few issues here. Number 1, I asked you nicely not to disrespect the Jets anymore earlier in the show, and you doubled down. You don't even have the Jets on your tier list. That's unbelievable. Where's the Jets? That's unbelievable. But look, all right, we're going to skip over that. You don't respect the Jets. You just totally ignored me. So let's go down. Let's go to my number 1 issue, and that's the number 1 contender. I have an issue with this. There's 5 teams that should be there. The Saints, the Ravens, the Steelers, the Bucks, and the Seattle Seahawks. They're all contenders. What do we call contenders? And I would also ask this, Wilds, okay? Because I know you always petition the committee. I think we need to petition the committee to add another tier. And this tier would be watch out tier. Because the Chiefs, your champs, they're the champs. They should stay right there until somebody knock them off. But they definitely need to watch out because they have the hardest remaining schedule. There's a chance that they could potentially be the 4th, the 5th seed with this remaining schedule. So I petition the committee to add a watch out tier, Nick. Can we get that done? Look at this schedule. Look at this remaining. You already lost to the Las Vegas Raiders, and you have them. The Bucks is still a really good team. It's going to be a defining moment for the Bucks. Whilst I will say this, if you want to know who is the real deal in the NFL, just watch the Chiefs games for the remaining of the season.
Nick, would you like to respond, or would you like to hear my petition to the gentleman from Kansas City?
I'll just respond quickly. I'll just respond quickly. That Chiefs remaining schedule, you know what it looks like to me? 14-2 at worst. Maybe
14-2?
they split with the Saints and Bucks, but their basement is 14-2. So the remaining schedule, be damned, that team, there is no concern. So I don't even, 14-2 at worst. Probably 15-1, but 14-2 at worst. Wilds, what is your issue with the committee, Wilds? What's your beef?
I, Kevin Wilds, would first like to respond to criticism of my petitions when people ask, Kevin, why are you doing this in kind of a parliament theme? I do not know, nor is it any of your business. But Kevin Wilds would like to petition the gentleman from Kansas City to move the Steelers up to the #1 contender status for the following reasons I will lay out henceforth. Number one, it wasn't an ugly win last week. Some people will say, hey, you snuck one out of Dallas. Wrong. They came back from a 15-point deficit. A win is a win, and they have 8 of them and 0 losses. The idea that the committee is penalizing a team that continues to find ways to win and may do so all the way to Tampa is ludicrous. Reason number 2. Underrated offense. As we talk about high-powered offenses in the NFL, no one mentions good old Big Ben and his 2 knees of indiscriminate health. The Seahawks lead the league in points per game at 34. Then it's the Chiefs. Then it's the Packers. Then it's the Saints. And just underneath the 30-point margin is the Steelers at 29.4. Yes, folks, no one will tell you this, but the Steelers have the 5th best scoring offense in the league. And finally, it is that vaunted defense. It is the Ravens, the Rams, and then basically the Colts, Dolphins, and Steelers tied for 3rd, giving up 20 points. So, Nick, it is for these reasons, and also the obvious reason that they're undefeated.
I'm like trying to,
the Steelers are the #1 contender.
Wilds, listen, the committee knows all those facts you just gave, and what it sounds to me like is the Steelers have the 6th-ranked offense and the 6th-ranked defense. That's what you just laid out there.
No.
So if you want to somehow 6 plus 6 is 12 divided. No, they're third.
The defense, they're all tied. It's 20, 20.1, 20.1.
Yeah, okay, well, okay, that's great. 6th best offense, call it the 4th best defense. That ain't the #1 contender. And I am not going to just gloss over the fact that for 3 weeks in a row, their games came down to the final play of the game. There is only one team, I'm giving them credit. There is only one team in the league clearly better than them, the Chiefs. But I no longer can say definitively they are better than those other excellent contenders. It's not, again, if you want to do a standings, Wilds, you can do a standings.
No.
They're atop the standings. They're not atop the tiers or the power rankings, Wilds.
Really quick, Brandon, because I have one bonus mention for the committee. The Ravens have had ugly games. The Packers had a ugly game to the Bucks. The Steelers have not had ugly games. They had games that were close that they ended up winning. The idea that they're on the same tier as the Packers, who got smashed by a team that's below them in the tier, is just offensive to me. And honestly, I didn't want to go here.
Offensive.
It makes me question the integrity of the committee. I'm sorry. Someone has to say it. This committee.
Listen.
There's some questions
about it.
Listen.
Brandon, I think echoes it. I understand you guys are much more comfortable with the standings. And you can look up, you can open up USA Today and see the standings. This involves nuance and investigation. And the committee has not been overwhelmingly impressed with the Steelers.
Who is this committee? Who's on this committee?
You know what?
Who's on this committee?
We were going to reveal, Brandon, we were going to reveal the committee this week.
We don't have anybody in the tier.
We were going to reveal the committee this week, but there were too many threats. There was too many threats
we're going to have much more on this coming up later in the show.
So they asked to remain anonymous.
Guys, have we seen the